Hello. Hello. You caught me. I think I went live by accident a bit early, but it's not that early. I was just trying to mess around with the lead in the back of the camera, but I think we're okay. So, good morning. I hope I find you well. Um, Everything is good here. I'm feeling very calm, very relaxed. I've got Sam with me, which is always lovely. So, good morning and welcome. Um, just thank you for joining me on YouTube. I did find it a little bit nerve-wracking when my son was doing his online sort of schooling and my husband was here, and from tomorrow we're going to have the little one as well. And I did find I was quite anxious about whether Zoom was going to cut out. So I thought, right, don't be anxious, just do it on YouTube. We know that works. So this is why we're here. The other really useful thing about this is that the sessions can be recorded. We can record them on Zoom, but it means you can go back over them. And I haven't really done any recorded Tai Chi from this room. And I've also managed to do it with Pilates. So thank you for bearing with me and doing something a bit different. So welcome. We are going to do a lovely session today. So today I'm thinking all about the flow. So we're going to try and really capture that sense of flow. And to do that, we're going to have to relax. We're going to have to soften. We're going to have to breathe. But we're also going to have to feel balanced. So I'm going to do a little bit of work on these feet and our stance. But we're just going to take these feet hip width apart and we're just going to have a little play. Now, while you're doing that, I'm just going to show you that position if we're seated. So seated Tai Chi is lovely, okay? And what we're going to try and do is, if you are in a chair, and I suspect maybe one or two of you are, we still want to make sure these legs are doing something. So we sort of sat comfortably. You can use the whole of the chair, but we just want to make sure that the feet are comfortably on the floor and that there's an element that you can push off them. So I have to sit slightly forwards in my chair to do this, okay? But we'd be doing that a little bit more. So if we were doing flying like wild geese, that is how we're going to push off the legs in that seated position. Standing, it's going to be very much more using the legs here, okay? So even if those knees are a little bit sore, we still need to push off the ground to get that sense of energy moving through the body, out and back all the time. So with those feet hip width apart, with those shoulders nice and relaxed, we're going to rub these hands together and start our warm-up. So placing the hands over the face, feeling that touch, fingertips on the forehead, thumbs on the cheekbone, and then noticing that touch, skin on skin, friction, allowing that head to rest in those hands. Allowing those shoulders to soften. And one more time. Just noticing if we can make any heat between the palms, between the fingers. And bringing yourself into that private space. Allowing that head to rest in the hands, letting those shoulders soften. Breathing out. And then slowly bringing those hands away from the head. We're going to take those fingertips. So we come into our self-massage. And we can do this in many ways. It can be more vigorous, it can be gentle, but all of it, it's better if we listen to what that body's telling us. So if we start with these gentle taps, and it's as if the movement's almost coming from the elbow. It's like raindrops dancing off the head. And then you might find you want to do a little bit around the neck, maybe the temples. But then we're just going to let those arms relax down. Quite a lot for the shoulders. And then either with these fingertips, that light fist or that smoothing action, we're going to come down that neck, down the shoulder, down the outside of the arm. We're going to come back up the inside of that arm. And then relax. And we're going to really notice the arm that's had the massage and the arm that hasn't. Is there anything you notice about one compared to the other? Let's see if we can even it up. So we're coming down the shoulder, down the outside of the arm. Trying to relax and soften the arm that's receiving the massage, making that wrist that's doing the tapping really floppy. So you're making yourself almost absorbent, absorbing the massage. And then we're going to come into that chest. And again, remember that dancing movement. So not really sort of forcing this movement, but allowing these fists to dance all around the front of that body, all around that digestive system, wherever you think you might need it most. If you've had a little cold or you get sort of chest infections, maybe focusing a little bit more on the lungs and the chest area, and then coming around to this back. So I'm going to turn a little bit. And again, just really nice, light, together or alternate, whatever works for you. Coming down the backs of those legs. I'm going to have to keep it pretty low today. Touch rugby. Always back at the inside. And I'm just going to do the last version in the chair. So even in the chair, coming down the fronts of these legs, only as far as you feel comfortable, back at the inside. And then we're just going to shake it off a little bit, shake it off. And then if we're sitting, feeling those sitting bones on the chair, those feet on the floor, imagine that spine lengthening. Standing the same. You feel balanced, the feet underneath the hips and the shoulder. That long spine. Imagine space just opening up between each segment of the spine. Allow those shoulders to soften. And then just sink. Soften those knees. And as the knees soften, it's as if these arms are just rising up. Remember, not so much there, but here. As if you were carrying something close to the body. And we're going to think about that breathing. We're going to focus on that breath out. We're going to make that breath out a little bit slower than the breath in if we can. And then we might think about adjusting our foot position just to make sure it feels right. Allow that weight to sink down through the middle of the foot. And then when you feel ready, we're going to breathe out, diagonal repatterning. There's that weight transfer, that folding at the hips into that leg, up, down into this leg. that breath out, there's that flow, that connection between that opposite hand, opposite foot. As if you're pushing that palm through the air and then drawing it backwards. Same speed out, same speed back. And then we're going to take that weight again, one leg into the other. We're going to let those arms become floppy. And we're going to remember that kangaroo tail. It's quite a heavy tail. At the moment it's hanging straight down behind you, just behind your heels, right in the middle, behind your heels. You're just rotating around that tail, pushing off one leg then the other. Letting those shoulders relax. Then letting those arms find their way home. Straightening those legs. And then again, like that ship settling in water, as we sink down, as we soften those knees, the arms rise up, put that glow. And we're going to see if we can just lift that chest. We're going to open up this side of the body, come back to center, and see if we can open up the other side. It's a little bit like east and west on those points of a compass. And now we're going to lift that chest towards south, opening up that lower back. The tail, that big tail stays on the floor. Now we're just going to gently lift that chest towards north, keeping that head relaxed, face soft. So we're going to lift towards south, and then we're going to roll around those points of the compass. Imagine that this breastbone is leading the movement. And as we roll up to north, that tail stays down, shoulders are soft. And as we roll down to south, shoulders are soft, hands are soft, face is soft. So we're breathing out. Breathing in as we open. So there's no movement in the arms. The arms are still. We're just circling this rib cage, this breastbone. So you can feel this movement in those core muscles. It's almost a squashing movement here, and then we're going to change direction. I'm just going to allow that head and neck to relax. Breathing out, breathing in. No movement in the hips and the feet. It's as if this lower half of the body is almost concrete. Just allowing that flow. This flow. And letting those arms come down. Now we're going to start just thinking about our breathing. So as we come into flying like wild geese, we're entering the breathing section. I'm going to just take myself side on so we can see that gentle rise and fall. So we're going to breathe in as we rise. We're going to breathe out as we soften those knees. It's not a massive movement, just a small movement where we're using those legs, the heels stay down. And when you feel ready, just imagine as you breathe in that I'm lifting up those elbows and you're powerless. You're just letting me move your arms for you. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Remembering that mirroring concept, that principle of the body working with itself. So if there's tightness on one side, we're going to let the side that has the least range, the least mobility lead. It's as if those helium balloons are lifting up. Heaven and earth. So we have those circles. Again, the rise, the fall, soft shoulders, soft face, long back. And then again, listening to that body. There's that opening. There's that flow. As soon as we allow those arms or those legs or that body to push outside of our point of tension, that flow becomes difficult. The body recognizes when it might be put into any situation that might cause it pain, and it'll tense up. So we're going to stop before we go too far. We're going to bring it back down. So we're moving within that area. Now let's bend those knees. Sweep down, relax that head. Flexing the sky. We're going to breathe out, those heels staying down, and we're going to push down into that floor. Those legs are powering the start of that move, so they're just bending a little bit. Straightening. And that power, that flow is moving from the ground up through the body to the sky. And then back down. This flow. Reversing. Rowing that boat. So this looks like a move where we take those arms right behind us. But in fact, the arms are almost moving to the side. There's a circle. If we take it too far back, it can impinge the shoulder. So we're breathing in. There's our distraction. Breathing in. Breathing out. So we're going to just stand. We've had that distraction, courtesy of my house. But it's quite a useful distraction because this sequence, it's tempting to think you have to be in a quiet space with everything perfect. But it's designed for life. It's designed for distractions. So what we're going to do now is bring ourselves back into those feet. We're going to be aware of that breathing. And then gazing at the moon as we breathe out, we're just going to see what's around that corner. And of course, as we look, as we turn our attentions, sometimes in a different way, we may never see what's behind us. It's in a different direction. This move is all about not just moving and looking forwards all the time. It's about being aware of everything that's around you. Good. There's that flow. Let's try it with two hands. So we're going to see if we can take that natural step. So I'm going to turn this foot away from centre. I'm going to slide or step forward, just step out with this foot. So we still have those feet hip width apart, the tail resting somewhere behind those heels. Those hips are square on. And again, we're going to almost hug that sense of something into the abdomen. Just going to practice that weight transfer. So as we breathe out, let's see if we can take our awareness into the toes as we breathe in. Let's make sure that we allow those toes just to soften, almost to spread. So we may find we have to make that move a little bit smaller. And then when you feel ready, you're going to bring that whole move in. Here am I. I'm going to slide this foot backwards. And when we turn this in, we should ideally be back to that hip width apart position. So if you find that you're here, sometimes that movement might be a little bit narrow for you to feel balanced. So ideally, everything in line with those hip bones. Now we're just going to place that tail down, settle like that boat in water, and we're going to bring those hands together. We're going to soften that neck and those shoulders. Just going to notice any sense of recognition between these hands, between the palms. And then I'm going to bring this hand just in front of that chest, this hand below it. And then I'm just going to try and take the weight into this foot and the weight into this. There's that little folding at the hips. Okay, so it's starting in the legs. And then when we feel ready, we're going to wave hands like clouds. Imagining that magic egg timer full. It's that energetic sound. And as that lower hand collects that energetic sound, we're going to turn the egg timer, and the lower hand is going to become the top hand. There's that flow again. Soften. And we're going to come back to center. And relax those shoulders. Just drop that tail behind us. I'm going to take this breath in for the 5 elements. Breath out. Breath in. So the palms move apart, come back together. They part together and down. So we're taking that breath in. Shoulders are soft, face is soft. Take Noticing if there's any place where you become unstuck. We're moving out of our soft limit, pushing too hard. Let's find that flow. And then with that tail down, draw this circle around ourselves, our circle of well-being. So our tail is staying down. Again, imagine those feet glued to the floor. We're just finding our own limits. Always working within those limits. You can bend those knees a little bit if you have any issues with that lower back. And then we're going to change direction. So we're listening into that body. We're never pushing into a painful situation. We're working with that body's limitations. So your circle might be bigger or smaller than mine. It's our circle. Draw this line of well-being all the way around yourself. Put you right in the center. Breathing in as we come up. Breathing out to return. And our return to center is that rise and that fall. Drawing in some of that positive energy. Breathing out. This is called return to center. We'll stand for a few moments just within ourselves. Shoulders relaxed. And then we'll have a little break, little rest. Not too much of a rest because we're going to try that sequence again. So there is a little chat box. I don't know if anyone has noticed it before, but if you do have any questions at all at the end, you can always pop something in that and I can get in touch with you. But what I thought we'd do in the break, obviously you can have a little comfort break, have some water. I ought to shut my door for starters so we're not disturbed in the next bit. But we're just going to talk about that 5 elements. And hi Agnes. We're going to talk about the 5 elements, which is one of the sort of moves that everyone seems to really enjoy. And it's about, usually when we're doing this sequence, we're inside, and it's about connecting with those elements of nature that can really nourish us. So you all know how it feels when the sky is blue and the sun's shining. It's a bit like that feeling when you see the sea or the mountains. And we want to capture that feeling. Well, I've just happy birthday. Happy birthday, Agnes. Oh, I hope you have the most wonderful, quiet, it's going to be quiet this year, but a wonderful day. Happy birthday. You're a Christmas baby. So, yeah, we were saying about the 5 elements, but birthdays are just as good. It's about capturing that feeling when we're outside. So when we sort of do this expansion bit, it's this, the fire part, the 5 elements. And I always think sun, you know, that feeling of the sun. It's warmth, it's light. And it's this year really recognised just when it's very dark, very quiet, things like Christmas lights, how they lift people's spirits. So that light and that warmth, so important. Then we have the air. And if you think about how the air, when you're outside, that sea air, people talk about the sea air is so good for you. Think about that, just how you feel when you breathe in that clean, fresh, sort of like positive ions. And then we have the ground. So when we're here, it's the ground beneath your feet. If you think about the ground, what it does for us, without the ground, we wouldn't be walking around. We'd have no plants, no trees. So we talk about that ground as something that's nourishing, something really steady, that's giving us, that ability to balance and move and live. And from that, thinking about things like trees, plants that grow. So this is our sort of almost growing, that growth idea. And then water. And what I love about water is that it flows. So we've got that flow. So I've gone on. Let's go back into the next segment of our sequence. So a little bit of a warm-up. We're going to make it a little bit quicker, but I want us to go back to it because we might find it we're a little bit more in that place we want to be. So we're going to be aware of those feet on the floor, aware of those hands. Noticing. Taps, the touch, the massage. So you're going to take this massage where you feel you need it most. Your body will tell you. Body will direct you to the right place. Being aware, being present in this body. You can use this hand just to support if you find it awkward. Making that body absorbent. Covering that front part of the body. The gorilla tapping. It's my younger friend, Alice, what we call it. So we're going to come down the backs of these legs. Now you can go all the way to the feet, or you can limit, depending on how flexible you're feeling today. Down the outsides of those thighs. Usually a little bit easier this time. But again, listening to that body, not pushing it beyond where it wants to go. So it's repetition rather than force. Okay, let's shake those feet out. Shake those arms out a little bit. Shake those arms and legs. Okay, so I'm going to find that position. Just gently take that weight into the front and the back of the foot. On that chair, just gently move that weight forwards and backwards on those sitting bones. And then just allowing that tail to almost hang through that chair all the way down, just between those legs of the chair, behind the heels, the arms almost floating upwards. There's that little golden apple, it's a tiny one, under each armpit. Diagonal repatterning. We're going to do 3 moves in each section. Let's think about that breath out, that breath in. folding movement at the hips. We're taking that weight down into the leg, up and down. So we're using the ground. And we could also allow that folding to take place again. So we're taking the weight into one leg and then the other. Your tail is down, and then we're going to let those arms relax. It's almost a little kidney massage at the same time. Just being careful if you're in that chair, because the arms have a bit more to bang into. And then when those legs come to a halt, the arms take a little bit longer. And then, again, placing that tail down, settling like that boat in water. And lift that rib cage, coming towards south. And as we breathe in, we're rolling over the northernmost point of that compass, around, breathing out. Our vital organ warmer. Shoulders are soft, head is soft, that neck is soft, and the shoulders as if everything, any sense of tension is just melting away, change in direction. So everywhere you might notice tension, we're going to imagine just opening a tap and letting that tension just gently run away. And in its place, soften those knees. And then as we straighten those legs, flying like wild geese. Breath in, filling the lungs. Long spine, long neck, soft shoulder, heaven and earth. Imagine these palms forming this soft circle. It's that breath in, that breath out. Let's take one more of those soft circles. We're going to open to the day. It's that welcome. We're going to remember that flow. If we go too far, the flow almost comes to that halt. It's as if someone's putting the shutter down. So let's find that point before the shutters come down. And almost just start to come back. Now we're going to sweep down. It's that sweep. Push up through the legs. We're going to open, flexing the sky. And remembering these circles are your circles. You want to find your circle that's right for you. It could be a smaller circle. Could be a bigger circle. Now, Remembering those shoulders, so we don't have to take those arms behind us. It looks like a behind the arm move, but we're just working with your shoulders. So those arms coming wide rather than back. Breathing in, breathing out. Allowing those shoulders to soften. Lengthening that spine. Tail is down. Again, we're going to take the weight, folding at the hips. And then we're going to come back to center. Take the weight into this side. Back to center. Now we're going to gaze at the moon. The magic, the moon, and the sky. We're just imagining we're looking at that bright moon, silvery light, a different sort of light. So beautiful. Here am I. So this time I'm going to turn around. So we're almost doing it together. We're going to take from that heel, these toes away from center. We're going to take the weight into this leg. And then we're just stepping out, or a big step. And we're feeling secure, balance. That imaginary tail on the floor. Long spine. And we're just going to take that weight transfer forwards and back. Those hips facing forward. Because we're being honest. This move about being who we are, not who we think we should be. This is us. Yes, we've all got weaknesses, but we have strengths. And we're going to think about our strengths. So, we're going to breathe in. And we're going to breathe out. And as we breathe in, we're going to sweep any thoughts about what we're not good at. And we're going to think about our strengths. This is about being positive about ourselves. And we bring that foot in, turn that in, and again, this time, taking this foot. So on that clock face, almost to maybe 2 o'clock, but some of you might find it better 1 or 3, and again. So let those toes soften. And so, bring yourselves back in this hand, waving hands like clouds. Find that flow. Breathing. Not worrying about the breathing. No beginning. No end. coming back to center. So there's a 5 element. We're going to take that breath in. We have fire, air, the ground, the earth, wood, and we have water. We're going to think about the sun, how it warms, how it lights, how we feel when we feel it on our skin, and we see it shining. So let's imagine we're in that sun. It's that flow, that breath. Our circle of well-being. So we can remember that imaginary tail, and it's going to stay on the floor as we circle up and as we circle around and sweep down. So that circle's just in front of us, but around us. Breathing out, breathing in. Then changing direction. Bringing it down. We have that return to center. Breathing in, breathing out. Making that breath out more slower than that breath in. One more time. Just allowing yourself to stand or sit within yourself for a few moments. And then maybe wiggling those toes, wiggling those fingers, giving those arms a little shake. And we are done. But thank you for joining me. I hope it worked for you okay on the YouTube side of things. Happy birthday again to Agnes. I've got strict instructions for you. You have to totally spoil yourself all day. Good, I just see. Good, you pamper yourself because let's face it, I'm thinking there's more ladies than men. Let's face it, ladies. No one else is going to spoil us than ourselves. I think the sooner I accepted that, the better. So have the most wonderful day. Thank you everyone for joining. And the wonderful thing is you will be able to access this again. I will be recording a session for next week that you can then watch and do over Christmas. But have a wonderful day, everybody. I'm going to now. All like, bye-bye.